Stone yard site, and Eugene license, Maxine Coleman. Maxine Coleman. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Joe, this is the following is a short count test of the 1MC, 54321, 12345, test complete. Do you have good mic on me? Joe? This is a long count test of the 1MC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Do I need to test you? Hi, Joe. Am I good? Okay.
Okay, well, anyway, thank you for coming to services tonight. Certainly, the tenor of our services tonight is not that of Shabbat joy, but I think it should be that of Shabbat peace. The world is raging around us. There are fires to be put out, conflict to extinguish. And we're not going to do that ourselves, and it's going to take a village. It's going to take a world village to shut this down. What were you doing on October 6th, 1973? As I look around the Kahila, I can see maybe 7 or 8 of us that were alive then and cognizant then. Okay. On October 6, 1973, I was the officer of the watch aboard USS Detroit. We were about 50 miles south of Sicily, having completed 7.5 months in the Mediterranean, and we were heading home as part of the USS America Carrier Battle Group. About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I got a message. Okay, so TS, big deal. I didn't share it with my friends, by the way. Top secret. I didn't share it with my friends. I kept it to myself. And it said, okay, the Yom Kippur War had kicked off. I let the skipper know. Skipper came out to the bridge and said, okay, this is what I want you to do, Ensign Vidmar. I want 4 boilers online because we're going to need them. We were steaming on 2 cross-connected, which is just peacetime steaming. 2 hours later, TS Op Immediate comes through. Turn around, you're going back to the East Med, proceed with all due speed. So I gave the helm order, hard right rudder, and then set a course and said, all ahead flank, set turns for 30 knots, we were on our way. We were there another 2.5 months. Things were tense. The Russians were supplying arms, of course, to Syria and Egypt in very large quantities and the very advanced weaponry, most advanced weaponry that they had. So we did not really know what we were getting into. Thank goodness the Israelis did gain the upper hand, and eventually a ceasefire ensued. Fast forward, October 6, 2023. We have something that caught the Israelis by surprise, although the signs were there, just like they were in 1973. This wasn't an intelligence failure, this was an intelligence interpretation failure. That's the way it usually is, just like for 9/11. The players are not the same. Egypt is not being particularly helpful, but neither are they hostile. Syria is not being particularly helpful, nor are they hostile. The Russians are only peripherally involved, and the big player is Hamas, who is, of course, being supplied financially and with weaponry by Iran. In 1973, the armed conflict was basically army against army, and there were civilian casualties, of course, there always are. But they were peripheral to the main thrust of the conflict. In 2023, they were the deliberate targets of the conflict. That's what makes things different. So as we go into this Shabbat, I want people to understand that this is not going to be easy, this is not going to be short. We're seeing a potential power shift, change of arrangement in the Middle East. Our government and those of Western democracies are on board with this. Keep a tab who isn't. They will not surprise you. Okay, let's continue. The world we inhabit is a scary place. This was written during the Yom Kippur War of 1973. Gesher Tsar Meod. We sing it here sometimes on Friday nights. The world we inhabit is a scary place. If you approach a narrow bridge in a car, even on foot or on a bike, you kind of lose heart to continue. You fear, you freeze up, You sit down, you're petrified, you can't move. So it is with life. If we think too much about the journey we have to make that is so perilous and unpredictable, we will never make it. The important thing is that we are not afraid. We should not give in to fear. The world is a narrow bridge and we will not be afraid. We need to keep going, as did the thousands of generations who came before us. Kol halam kulo gesher tsar meod. Am kulo gesher tsar meod. Gesher tsar meod. Kol halam kulo gesher tsar meod. Gesher tsar meod. Ha'ikar lefa'iklau ha'ikam ha'ikam ha'ikar lefa'iklau ha'ikam. For candle lighting, I would like to invite Josie Thorpe.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
This one might be the exact opposite. There you go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Ha'olam Asher Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu Lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat. Thank you. We continue on page 6, responsively at the top of the page. We enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves together. Now may He, in our own turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace.
May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer.
Page 12, Lechuna Ranana. Letzuri Shenu, Kada Oda, Naria Churi Shenu, Nizmuirot Arialo, L'chuneranina, 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 l'Adonai. L'chuneranina, 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 l'Adonai. We continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, V'shemo echad, V'shem u'tiferet v'el-hitzilah. Shabbat, Hallelujah, Librat Shabbat, Lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekol ha'bracha, Erosh mikedem nesucha, Sof Maaseh Bekamakamatuila, Kadodi Likrat Kala Yadadai 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 Neshabat Nekadelah Doiva Shalom Ateret Bala Gam in simcha u'tzorah, tok emunei am segula, boi kala, lekadodi likrat kala, yadadai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Hallelujah. Now let's Shevet, please be seated. Picture, if you will, a beautiful Saturday night at Wolf Trap National Performing Arts Center in Virginia. Yitzhak Perlman on the program. So Amy and I were there. It was a Saturday night. The sun was just going down. And then he started playing the traditional tune to Shalom Aleichem. You could hear a pin drop. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Orchem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom,
Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Baruch Hu. Tzechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
The aftermath of that dead silence was that people started humming it. Please rise for the Hatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yikadashim hei Rabbah.
Amen.
Vilma divrachurte v'yamlich malchute b'chayekonu yomechon u'chayede kol beit Yisrael bagala uvizman kariv v'yimaru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach Olam olam me'almaya Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalmao Shemei Kudishav Leila min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbekata v'nechemata Damiran Be'alma Vimaru Amen. Please stay standing for the Baruch Hu, page 28.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We'll continue with the Ma'ariv Aravim on page 30, together in Hebrew at the top of the page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, v'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, u'vitfana mishenei itim, u'machalif et chazmanim, u'mesader et hakokavim, v'mishmerotekem barkia kiritzono, borei yom v'layla, Golel or mipne choshek, v'choshek mipne or, umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, El chai kayam tamid yamloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Amariv Aravim. Middle of 31 together. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai Amariv Aravim. I chose that particular reading about standing on a threshold. You know, is this yours, Jess?
Yes.
Oh, cuties. Obviously, I need a drink. Excuse me. It's not 2 fingers of good scotch, but it'll do. I chose that because of the standing on the border between day and night, between good and evil, between righteousness and wickedness. So I chose that for that reason. We'll continue with Ahavat Olam on page 32. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavata, Torah u'mitzvot, hukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadita. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachbenu uvkumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nizmak b'divrei Toratecha, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ויורק ימינו, ובכם נהגה יומם ולילה. ואהבת אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Please rise for the Shema, page 34. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Ha'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Ha'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated. Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך.
והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך בדיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ושכבך וקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 38. Emet ve'emunah kol zot v'kayam aleinu ki hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'en zulato v'anachnu Yisrael amo. Together in the middle of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great,
it has
been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot, Osef Eler.
Well, we crossed the Red Sea. I mean, yes, we overcame oppressive forces, and it's a recurring theme of our history, unfortunately. But we made it across. So at this point, we thank for making that. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Top of 43. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with love in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, ha-porei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Uvros aleinu sukat shlomecha, uvros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen.
We continue on page 44 with Yismechu.
Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat.
Mekadashei, Mekadashei Shevi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbechu, V'kitanu Mitvecha Shabbat, Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat. Ratzita bo kidashto Shabbat, Chemdat Yamim, Oto Karata Shabbat, Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher L'maseh, L'maseh Sherishit Shabbat, Zecher L'maseh, L'maseh Bereshit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat. In the days of the temple, the service done by the priests revolved around tefillah, what we now know as the Amidah. Okay, quickie quiz time. How many sections are there to the Amidah for weekday services? 19. Shemona Esrei is 18, but later rabbinic thought added something else. Elohai Netzor L'Shani Merah, by the way, if you want to know that. All prayer takes three forms: praise, thanks, or petitionary. So when you look at the weekday Amidah, all of those are in there. But on Shabbat and holidays, the petitionaries are gone. Save one. A prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, which we include in our liturgy on Shabbat. Please rise for Tefillah, page 46.
Adonai, Sifatai Tiftachu fi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, V'zocher hashtei avot v'imahot, U'mevii gila libnei v'neihem, L'ma'an shemo ve'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atara lehoshia, Mashir haruach u'morid hagashim, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somek noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech mimit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, Kedoshim b'chol yom yahalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated if you wish. Top of 53. It's easy to lose sight of the big picture when you look at day-to-day life. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illuminates the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please continue the Amidah silently. Top of page 57. The next section of the Amidah is the Avodah, in which we're asking God to accept our prayers Avodah, obviously meaning to serve, to be faithful. Top of 57. Ritzei, Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu bi'amcha Yisrael u'tefilatam bi'ahava tikabel u'tehi leretzon tamid u'tehi leretzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Amecha Baruch atah Adonai she'otecha levadha be'yirat navod she'otecha levadecha be'yirat navod. Middle of page 59 together. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us, we mortals that you take note of us? You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha ne'eh lahodot. Page 60, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Le'olam Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol Shalom V'tov b'necha Levarech et amcha Yisrael B'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
Top of 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, himavarek et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי,
אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, Adonai Tzuri V'goali V'goali. It is possible to see this. Every text or email that I've gotten from many of my Muslim colleagues, former residents, medical students, have all said, this is not Islam, this is terrorism. We continue on page 253 with the Mishaberach. God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel, send your blessing to the following friends and family members who are in need of healing and comfort: Martha Schneider, Fred Solomon, Lyle Jackson, Don Seamus, Jeff Pinsky, Kobe Castellano, Serrano Dano, Larry French, Arlene Sandelstein, Sharon Johns, Samir Wabi, Joan Coleman Rosenthal, James Chavez, Barbara Shapira, Jenny DeFazio, Diane Levy, Zach Schilberl, Rabbi Brad Bliefeld, Sherry Giampa, and all our Israeli brothers and sisters who have been hurt, and for the inhabitants of Gaza that have also been hurt.
Mishmerach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov.
Mishaberach imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers,
hear our prayer.
hear our prayer,
Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer.
hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Mishaberach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov.
Mishaberach
imotenu,
Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel.
May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers,
hear our prayer, hear our prayer,
hear our prayer. Hear our prayer.
hear our prayer, hear our prayer,
and
bless us as well. We continue on page 258. I invite Julie Cohen to the Bema to please read for our country. Two 258.
Our guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen. Thanks.
Page 259. Prayer for the State of Israel. Avinu Sheba Shamayim Tzur Yisrael V'Golo, Barek et Medinat Israel. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the State of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding with your good counsel Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And let us say, Amen. How do you write a Devar Torah in a situation like this on Bereshit? Well, I tell you, I had to pivot very quickly. But, you know, in the military, that's what we do. We pivot quickly. I'd like to start off with a story about a patient that I saw early this week who kind of gave me the idea for the theme. This is a guy who is a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom, who had lost a leg on one side completely and then a foot on the other, IEDs. They do that sort of thing. And I said to him, you know, okay, I can see what happened here. And he said, yeah, Doc, I just happened to be the wrong place in the wrong time. I must have the mark of Cain. And I said, no? No, he wasn't Jewish. He was very much black AMA. And I said, you know, so what do you mean by that? And he said, well, the mark of Cain is upon me and my family to the 7th generation. I said, please elaborate even further. Well, it seems as if his grandfather was the last guy executed in Ohio in 1963 for premeditated murder. And so his father had a hard time in life because he had that mark of Cain or stain upon him. And so the grandson, who ended up being a Marine Corps infantryman, managed to get part of himself blown up in Iraq. So he thought that the tradition continued. I took off my doctor hat and put on my rabbinic hat. I said, no, dude, that's not the way it works. So let's have a quick review of the Parsha and then a very quick exploration of the theme of the mark of Cain. So, what's Bereshit? Yeah, everybody knows it. God creates the world in 6 days. First day, darkness and light. Second day, heavens, dividing upper waters from lower waters. Third day sets the boundary of land and sea, calls forth trees and greenery from the earth. On the fourth day, it fixes the position of the sun, moon, stars. Fish, birds, and reptiles are created on the 5th day, land animals and the human being on the 6th, and then God ceases work. End of story. No, there's a lot more to it in Bereshit. God that forms the human body from the dust of the earth and breathes into his nostrils, according to one of the two themes that runs through Bereshit, a living soul. However, man is solitary, and God decides it's not that good that man be alone. God takes aside from the man, this is in one of the two strands of narrative in Bereshit, I didn't get into the other one, and forms into a woman. Adam and Eve are placed in the Garden of Eden, and everybody knows what's happened there. Nicht good. Eve gives birth to Cain and Abel. Cain quarrels with Abel and murders him and then becomes a rootless wanderer. Cain then says, oi, what am I to do? God says that he has marked him with a sign. What do you think that sign was meant for? It was meant so that no man would harm him. Huh? No, what's this? And then, of course, the Parsha ends with a third son, Seth, being born, and then you have all this begetting that goes on. And only Noah is the only relatively righteous man in a horribly corrupt world, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the question we have to ask ourselves is, did Cain actually suffer for his fratricide? The mark of Cain. So, in Tanakh here we have, since you have banished me from this day from the soil, I must avoid your presence and become a restless wanderer on earth. Anyone who meets me may kill me. Okay. And God says, okay, I promise. If anyone kills Cain, 7-fold vengeance shall be exacted. Yeah? And I don't know, I put a mark on Cain, lest anyone who met him should kill him. So what does this mean? 7-fold vengeance shall be extracted. Cain was marked as being protected by God, so that no man would ever punish him for murdering his brother. Did Cain ever get published? You could tell I'm a doctor. Did Cain ever get punished? 7-fold vengeance shall be extracted. Exactly against whom? Cain or the individual that kills Cain? So what happened? Several generations after Cain, the exact number is unclear, many rabbinic narratives on that one, there was a descendant of Cain named Lamech, who relates this later in the Parsha. So Lamech is sitting here. And Lamech is having a discussion with his wives, Ada and Zillah. Hear my voice, O wives of Lamech, give ear to my speech. So Lamech is saying, I have slain a person for wounding me and a lad for bruising me. So who's this person, and what the heck does this have to do with Cain? Well, it seems as if Lamech, who was blind, accidentally shot somebody with an arrow after having his target designated by his own grandson, unnamed, because the grandson thought, oh, that's a wild animal. No, it was a person. So, if Cain is avenged, then Lamech 77-fold, Lamech is saying to his wives. So what the heck? What's going on here? Who did Lamech slay? What was the result? Well, rabbinic tradition, of course, we do midrash. You know, when Tevye the milkman says, and the good book says, no, he's not talking about Tanakh, he's talking about midrash. Rabbinic tradition tries to fill in the gaps through midrash. I delved into a couple of sources, but I found one really good here. Midrash Tanhuma. Lamech, Cain's grandson, says Tanhuma, was blind. He went hunting with his young grandson, holding him by the hand and guiding him. The child saw something that looked like a beast and told Lamech to draw his bow and shoot at what he thought was a beast. The boy called out, Father, i.e. grandfather, woe is me. I have actually shot my great-grandfather, who was Cain. So the ultimate Cain mutiny, I guess. In contrition, Lamech forcefully extended his arms and clapped them in woe. Oi! And he forcefully clapped them around his grandson and killed him. It was not a good day. The slaying of Abel seems to have been avenged by one of Cain's own descendants, who himself was not harmed. However, Lamech, Cain's descendant, has now suffered, knowing that he, albeit blindly, literally and figuratively, and inadvertently killed his own grandfather and his own son. In modern parlance, the killing of Abel was first-degree murder, and the slaying of Cain was involuntary manslaughter, according to current legal definitions. However, Lamech goes to his grave knowing that he has killed his ancestor as well as one of his descendants and was tormented for the rest of his life. So, was justice done? Cain was well protected by his mark and wasn't harmed by another human being, until he wasn't. Cain seems to have eventually paid the price for his cold-blooded murder of his brother. Lamech, the descendant, was the agent of retribution, unwittingly did so and paid a horrible price. He killed his ancestor and his own descendant. Was Lamech's punishment for violating the mark of Cain? So what seems to have really happened? The mark of Cain protected him, that is, Cain, from all who could actually see the mark. However, Cain was eventually forced to pay for his crime. Lamech, the human who killed Cain, could not see, period, let alone see Cain's mark. And the kid had no idea what it was. Did God somehow unknowingly co-opt Lamech to do his bidding, which caused Lamech to suffer for the rest of his life, in many ways far worse than Cain ever suffered? Lamech shot the arrow, he was the proximate cause, but he could not independently confirm the target that he was shooting at. That certainly shows that he bore at least some responsibility for what happened. The child certainly didn't know the identity of the target, so who's really to blame? Everybody knows whenever I end my Devar Torahs, I always quote my dad of blessed memory, one of the liberators of Dachau, who said, "Okay, Dennis, so that's nice, so why should I care?" I answer my dad's question instead by asking him several questions of my own. Is retribution for murder the providence of God alone? If man interferes with God's wishes in this type of situation, either knowingly or unknowingly, are the results even worse in the long run? Does retribution by man ever serve any long-term constructive purpose? These are not easy questions, and I certainly don't have any answers. Rabbinic tradition has struggled with this for centuries and continues to do so. So should we. Our service continues on page 282 with the Aleinu. We will start in the middle of 282. When we reach the conclusion of the main portion of the Aleinu, I will have a small insertion in there. Please rise for the Aleinu, page 282.
Aleinu l'shaleach l'adon hakol, latei gedula leotzeh breshit, shelo asanu shloyei aratzot,
V'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'kol hamonam, v'anachnu korim,
umishtachavim umodim, lifnei
melech malchei hamachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu,
shehu notei
Shemayim ve'yoser haaretz, u'Moshe v'yikaro b'shamayim imaho, u'shkinatu zo, u'shkinatu zo, v'gav hei meromi, hu Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efesu lato, kakatu b'torato, v'yadatayam, v'yashivota elevavaka, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim imal, v'yaretz mitachat einod. Top of page 285 together. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service.
Then
shall your realm be
established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. Please be seated. Page 292. We have lived in numberless towns and villages, and in too many of them we have endured cruel suffering. Some we have forgotten, others are sealed in our memory, a wound that does not heal. 100 generations of victims and martyrs, and still their blood cries out from the earth, and so many at Dachau, Buchenwald, Babi Yar. What can we say? What can we do? How bear the unbearable or accept what life has brought to our people? All who are born must die, but how shall we compare the slow passage of time with the callous slaughter of the innocent cut off before their time? They lived with faith, not all but many, and surely many died with faith in God, in life, in the goodness that even flames cannot destroy. May we find a way to the strength of that faith, that trust, that sure sense of life and soul endure beyond this body's death. They have left their lives to us. Let a million prayers rise whenever Jews worship. Let a million candles flow against the darkness of those unfinished lives. This Shabbat, we commemorate the art sites of Meyer Davidow, Maxine Kallman, Irvin Goldman, Joseph Stern, Henry Zaks, Manetta Cooperman, Arlene Breakstone, Isaac Sherman, Joseph Schwab, Rose Frank, Julius Aaron, Samuel Sobel, Molly Peel, Jonas Adler, Robert Cohen, Ernest Selig, Rachel Zaks Gage, Rachel Davis, Eugene Weiss, Rosa Samler, Frida Reichert Rosenberg, Stanislav Itchik, Miriam Goodman, and Betty Jean Kay. Are there any names to add to the art site list for this Shabbat? For those For those of you that are on Zoom or YouTube, please enter that into your text box. Luba? We also, of course, commemorate those who have lost their lives in this recent flare-up in the Middle East, not just Israeli soldiers and civilians, women, children, but also needless death and suffering in Gaza. Please rise for Malay Rakamim.
El Malay Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Amtzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanafei HaShekhinah, Im Kedoshim Tehorim, Kizohar Hakia, Mazirim, Lenishmot Yakireinu Hatzadikim, Hatzadikim Haniftarim, Shachu Leolamam, Bal Harachamim, Harachamim, Yastireim Meseter Kanafam, Leolamim, Beitzror HaChaim et Nishmatam, Adonai hu nachlatam, V'yanuchu v'shalom al mishtavam, v'nomar Amen.
Please remain standing for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shnei Rabbah, Be'omad divrav v'yamlich malachutei, B'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayi dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'meru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dekusha brichu le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'almar v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom
B'romav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu
Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Please be seated. And who is doing announcements tonight?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and thank you, Dennis and Jesse, as usual. Very nice. First off, Insight classes. The Rabbi Moray's Insights class will begin on October 25th and run on most Wednesday evenings through May. For more information, go to the website, and you can register on the website or contact the Temple office for assistance. I wanted to remind anyone who has been in those classes before that you are welcome to come again. If there's a class that you missed, you're welcome to come back and make up that class, or just enjoy the class, take it again. Our TGIS dinner is coming up. It is the first one of this new year, and it's going to be held on Friday, October 27th. Our RSVPs must be in by October 22nd. Please check your weekly emails for more information and register links. And once again, RSVPs must be in by October 22nd. One more announcement, but let me preface it by a little bit of rambling. This week, I had a lot of opportunities to go to different meetings and webinars and Zoom meetings. And I got to tell you, saw a lot of hurting Jews this week. And it's interesting, even to the point where I saw the head of Jewish affairs at the White House break down in the middle of giving her address from the White House. I mean, that's how the Jewish state is right now. Interestingly enough, I was in another conversation with somebody about something completely else, and she mentioned about how, her Jewish colleagues, and she had noticed how whatever, what a bad shape everyone was in. And wasn't confused by that, sympathized, but I never miss an opportunity to throw out a Devar Torah or to spiritualize things, so I talked to her a little bit and tried to explain it to her. And one of the things I said to her is that every Jew knows and every Jew understands the saying, Kol Yisrael Avarim Zeh Ba'azeh. All of Israel is responsible for each other. That is why we are hurting. And that said, our last announcement. Tomorrow is our service at 10 o'clock. There are a lot of hurting people in this congregation. There are a lot of hurting people that are going to be watching on Zoom. I would encourage you to come and be together with us. When you're hurting, you have a tendency to want to draw away, to be by yourself. And that's just the opposite of what should be done. We should be coming together, comforting each other, and it will help. If you are hurting, it will help you through it too. So please, I encourage you to come tomorrow, help our fellow congregants. We will have a bunch of guests coming tomorrow. Rabbi Murray has been contacted by several pastors in the area who wanted to come to services, and they weren't taking no for an answer. Rabbi told them, I'm out of the country, not going to be here, but they insisted on coming anyway. So they will be here, and I would encourage as many of our congregation as possible to please come and be a comfort to each other and to be a comfort to our community. Shabbat Shalom.
In that vein, we will have our closing song being Hatikva on page 374. 374. Please stand. Nefesh Yehudayim Yomiyah Ufatei Mizrach Kadima Ayin Letzion Sophia Lo Avdat Tikvateinu Hatikva Shnatot Be'ayim Liyotam Choshi Be'artzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim Liyotam Choshi Be'artzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. So long as within the inmost heart a Jewish spirit sings, so long as the eye looks eastward gazing towards Sion, our hope is not lost. The hope of 2,000 years to be a free people in our own land, the land of Sion and Jerusalem. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Page 6. Oops. Oh, yeah. 4. V'hi'erev v'hi'voker yom hashishi v'chulu hashemayim ha'aretz v'kol tzva'am v'chol Elohim v'yom hashvi'i melakto asher asa v'yishpot v'yom hashvi'i mikol melakto asher asa v'yivarek Elohim et yom hashvi'i v'yikadesh oto ki vo shavat mikol Asher bara Elohim Maso.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava u'ratzon hidchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta v'yotanu hidashta mikomim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mikadish HaShabbat. Amen.
Right.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. I will be passing this around shortly. And one last announcement here from JCC Avery for a contribution to the emergency fund. I have already done so. The link works. This is being administered through the Jewish Federation of Cleveland, and these people know how to handle money very efficiently and very well. So, yeah, or send the check. I'll give it to you. Cash, yeah, okay. No, not really. Not on Shabbat either. Okay, but anyway, the link works online. Trust me, been there, done that. Shabbat Shalom.